You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The views expressed by the individuals during this broadcast are their own opinions, and they may not be the same as those of their group or other organizations they may be involved with.
All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Pace Radio Show. We're live here at paceradio.net as well as 420pace.ca and our social media locations. Good evening, Tamara. How you doing?
Oh, not too bad. How about you?
Oh, not too bad. I've been a lot worse. The knee is calming down, but it hasn't completely left me as far as the issue I was having with it last week.
Yeah. I mean, how's your weather? Is your weather
Oh, we had highs of 6. I think today was even warmer. Felt warmer.
I think it was here today.
The snow is melting. It's getting muddy in the driveway.
Like, what in the hell? Like, it's like minus 22, below in snow a week ago. Now all of a sudden we've got like
nice weather. It's nice weather now, but in 6 months from now, it'll feel like cold weather.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, it'll be like 50 above. Ugh. Like, you can't just like it, but it's going in like rage. Like, you know what they say, March comes in like a lion.
Yeah.
Well, so what? She's coming in like a lion.
Sort of look at March and October are sort of those transition months. Right? We can get good and really bad.
Well, I'm hoping at the end of March it stays 1st of April, because I got to drive to Saskatchewan.
No, yeah, you want good weather for that, don't you?
Right,
yeah.
Exactly. Somebody from out here has got to drive to Saskatchewan. Go pick up some cow. But yeah.
Oh yeah.
But other than that, it's like I said, the weather's so unpredictable. Like one day it's nice, the next minute it's minus this and that.
Yeah. Well, I know that we've got enough snow now. I've been out back, and the activity out back has slowed the wildlife down, and still see some deer tracks, but not like what I was seeing, and I'm not seeing the coyote prints like I was either. So.
No, yeah, snow will slow them down, but not around here though. They're all everywhere, and they've been talking about. Well, we've got a herd of 500 living in town.
A herd of 500. Wow.
Yeah, and they're town deer.
I was going to say they've moved into town.
No. Yeah, we're not even sure when they started.
Yeah. Just so everybody knows, we haven't heard from our guests yet, and we're just going to keep doing what we're doing, just shooting shit, and we'll highlight our guests from some of the stuff that he sent us before. Now he's in a different time zone, so maybe there's confusion there. Who knows? And if he shows up while we're live, we'll just bring him right into the broadcast, which wouldn't be the first time.
Nope, it hasn't.
No, exactly.
It's confusing sometimes with the time zone because, even like for you and I, it's 8 o'clock where you are. It's 6 o'clock for me.
Yeah. Oh, and it can be confusing at times.
Well, people even at 6 o'clock are usually eating dinner. And like that's why for my time zone in Vancouver it's only 5 o'clock there.
Right.
People, moving through traffic and trying to get home.
Yes. So when Mike shows up, we'll bring him in. But I've got his website here.
Well, that's pretty good.
Yeah, he's
Introduce
as I mentioned, in the post, he's a patient. It's battled with cancer a few times. Like right now, it would be number 5.
That's incredible.
I know.
It just, it absolutely floors me that people can keep having to have reoccurring. Like, isn't once enough?
Oh, I know. Like, I've had cancer, um, and it's actually 10 years ago. Getting pretty close to that, almost to the day or month. It was, I believe, in April. So I'm
Right?
only a couple months short of that, and
Wow.
it's 10 years ago. So and I've been checked annually, and because I was melanoma.
Right.
So I was dealing with skin cancer. So I get skin's your largest organ, and I have that checked every year by the specialist, and so far so good.
That's
She
good.
told me the last time.
Go ahead.
She said last time when I saw her, she says the next time is the 10th anniversary, and after 10 years, we send you back to your regular doctor, and wish you well. I
That's
said,
good.
all righty,
Well,
good,
yeah, I
yeah,
don't think people realize how important their skin is because they don't pay attention to like you're busy in life, like you got little lumps and moles and stuff, and it's only like yeah,
yeah,
so it's important, right?
and we have melanoma in my family. I've had uncles that have had it and stuff, and my mother actually passed
Right.
away, yeah, from
Yeah, it's
melanoma. So
not, especially when it runs in your family genetics.
yeah,
Unfortunately, yeah.
exactly. Hello, Scott. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be in touch, buddy. I'll be in touch.
Yeah, we were at the surgeon with Taven the other day too, and they're going to send him for a colonoscopy because of the family history, and they figured
Yeah,
because of my history and when I started, having these issues, but they're gonna, yeah. So
yeah. Well, my dad had colon cancer, and
right,
that's what he passed away from, and I was like 32.
right,
Oh, they said at the age of 35, dude, get checked every 5 years.
right,
Well, I went in, got checked, everything was good, and like 6 months later, I was sick with my Crohn's.
right. I know,
So
right?
yeah, and then nobody wanted to say anything to me because they were worried about cancer, and I ended up with the C word, but it wasn't. It wasn't the cancer,
Right,
not for my bowels. To get the cancer, I'd much. I've had other members in the family have had cancers, and they've been internal, and that's requiring major operations and
right,
major recovery to get a cancer. Melanoma and skin cancer is not the best cancer to get. It's actually one of the deadlier ones. But as far as evasiveness to one's body, it's the skin, right? So they cut it out, sewed me back. It wasn't as if they had to go in and remove a lung or a partial lung, or that's a long recovery after
right.
that.
Oh yeah, that's major surgery of any kind,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
right? I know and as you get older, they keep, you have to keep on your health because if you don't and you miss any little sidestep, and we're talking about the fact that we're lacking so many doctors and nurses, and with all this, you know, remember the 90s when the United States were lacking all doctors and nurses, and they offered our doctors and nurses outrageous amounts of fucking money to move to Texas and to fucking Dakota, North Dakota, and all
yeah.
these places, right? So, here we go.
That's right. Yeah,
But, again, that's something that with, cannabis being not legal down there federally, like they're already, talking about border security. And today it was about fentanyl again.
yeah. Well, I know it's about fentanyl, but I quite hear illicit. The words illicit drugs.
Well, we caught some
And
more fentanyl coming in from the U.S. into Canada.
yeah, but I just worry that when I hear the words illicit drugs is vague to me.
Well, that could be cannabis.
Correct. Exactly.
And
That's
it's on
where I
their
was
S- their
going.
it's on their federal drug enforcement lists, right?
Yeah.
Federally, right?
Right.
So it absolutely could be. And Well, like I said, who knows? Like
Yeah,
I just
exactly.
hope that it doesn't get touched. But the Ontario election's tomorrow, right? So
Yes. Tomorrow's our election. Now, I seen this, and I believe it's probably true. Makes sense. Um, if you took all the votes, like everybody who voted and didn't vote and all that, and you took the did not vote group and made that a party, it says here, according to this meme, that the did not vote party won.
it would, yeah,
Yeah, they would win.
yeah, they absolutely would. And that's disheartening because even with, you know, free voting and stuff, and for the, this one, 6%. That's a really low
Yeah, 6%.
six
Where
percent for
all that
pre-voting.
showed up for your election?
No, yours.
6.
6% showed up for pre-voting.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Now I know where you're going. I seen something about that. Something about the low numbers. So that yeah,
Really
6.
low numbers for pre-vote. Yeah,
Yeah, that's not very many, is it? Wow.
it's sad. It just gives, and like I said, it just gives Ford another 4-year mandate, and he hasn't done a great job. So I don't know.
Yeah, you hope for a big turnout on those advanced polling days. Now, we're going tomorrow. We're just gonna when Gail gets off of work, we'll just meet over there. It's on the way home from her work, and it's not far from here. So,
Right?
yeah,
But advanced polling isn't for everybody. But there we go. There's Mike.
there it is. All righty. Okay. Well, what do you say? Now that our guest is here, what do you say we bring him in?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay. As I mentioned earlier, our guest has been a blogger. He's done. He's an educator. He's a researcher, and he's a patient. And when it comes to patients, what we like to do here on the Pace Radio Show is, talk about the patients, highlight the patients, because we believe that patients sharing their story is one way of educating other people as well. So at this time, I think he's almost ready. You got the thumbs up, Mike? All right, he got the thumbs up. All right. At this time, we'd like to welcome Mike Robinson to the Pace Radio Show. G'day, Mike. How you doing?
All right, how you doing tonight?
All righty. Can I get you to turn your phone sideways to give us a landscape picture?
Oh, sideways.
Yeah, that way.
This
Okay,
one?
will it turn? Oh, it didn't turn. Okay, sorry.
It's not going
Yeah,
up
it's
and
locked.
down.
Yeah, your phone's locked.
Oh, yeah, my phone is locked. I probably
Yeah.
can change that. Do you want
Oh
to
yeah, I
take
can
me
see.
off
We
for
can
a
see
minute?
it. It just gives us a better picture if it gives us a landscape, because then you're long instead of tall and skinny. Like a phone.
I don't even
Right.
know where that lock thing is.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah. Do you have an Apple phone?
Yeah.
Okay. If you go to your top right hand screen and you pull down to the left,
Yeah.
you'll see a thing over on the left hand side that has a circle with the lock in it. It's above the word focus.
No,
It's
I
in
got
your, huh?
you. It's like
There we go.
old man radio hour here, right?
There we go. Hey,
it's like old stoner radio.
we were at an event in Toronto, covering the grow up event in Toronto, and that's how I discovered this lock feature, because all of a sudden my phone was locked, and I didn't like the way it was broadcasting out because it was that single line, and so yeah. It took me a bit, but I figured it out. So there you go. If it happens to you again, now you know.
Yeah, I normally am on top of that little button, but my
Yeah.
vision isn't quite what it used to be.
And we pull things out of our pockets and we hit the screens and we don't even realize it, and we do things to the phone. So
Yeah, and then it changes how everything looks. And my office is so custom,
well, Mike,
that's
think
gonna
that
change. It's gonna. I got big things on the horizon in 2025, kind of thing. But it all starts somewhere, and that's what this whole gig is about. I mean, people in the cannabis movement, almost everybody's got a story. And people that don't have a story, I sort of scratch my chin about, unless there's stories like, I've got some partners in a joint venture that were botanists in college, but they were foragers and things like that too.
right,
Before they
exactly.
saw hemp after going through college, and they're young, so they haven't lived a long time and been never in cannabis. So it's sort of weird how I look at things like that, because
Yeah,
I'm always leery of research, being who I am. I mean, I founded the Global Cannabinoid Research Center in 2018. For those of you who don't know me, I sort of introduce myself a little bit,
yeah,
and
yeah.
and,
Well,
and
actually, I should introduce you to my co-host here, my joint host, Tamara, and
mm,
Tamara.
Hi,
This is
nice to
Mike.
meet you.
the marijuana. That's a pretty cool name.
Yeah, it was given to me by a CTV cameraman back in 2008 because I did the first global marijuana march in Lethbridge, Alberta.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, there you go. Hey.
You guys got some history there in Canada.
Oh yes, yeah.
And,
Well,
yeah.
this show alone is 15 years old.
Wow.
Been doing this for 15 years. Yeah,
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 almost
yeah,
20 since
yeah.
2006.
Yeah. And same here. 2005, I started, getting out
Almost 20 years there.
there and
What
stuff
what
like
was
that.
the federal, or is that what it's called? Federal legalization or
We
country
have
legalization?
federal legalization here, but back in like 2000, 2001,
It was
there
2000 with the MMAR
was
we had
federal for medical cannabis.
we had patients that actually took the federal government to court under our Section 7
Yeah.
charter rights and fought in
That's
the
interesting.
Supreme Court of Canada and won their rights to the freedom to be able to consume and grow their own medicine. But you have to have a doctor's signature to do so. And their doctors were on board because they were MS patients and cancer patients, right? And we still have one of them with us, which is Allison Murden, but we've lost both Robin and Albrasa, and I believe Hitzig was the name of
Mark Paquette is
yeah,
another one.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 So, and then we've had to do that over a number of years, like even for, I guess, as far as 2016 kind of thing. We're back and forth with the federal government of our grow rights. So, the Cannabis Act was rolled out in 2019 here in Canada for legalization for cannabis federally across the country, but then it was kicked back to the provinces. So then every province then rewrote their own kind of legislation for cannabis for the provincial jurisdictions.
Wow, this is like sort of backwards of the
Yeah,
United States,
there's
right? It's almost
there's
like federal went down first, and then unrolling into basically the states of Canada.
yeah, yeah,
The ability to make your own regs
yeah.
instead of
And,
just being underfed.
And each town
and-
municipality could either opt in or out too. They make their own rules as bylaws as well.
yeah, yeah.
That is just like state to state to state.
Yeah, exactly. There's that
Here,
federal stuff that allows federal stuff. Go from there's
They consume cannabis across the country. There's no
yeah,
laws that say that we can't go from province to province. Provinces to provinces sell cannabis within each province, so that they're getting BC weed in Ontario. We're getting Ontario weed that's grown out
yeah,
there here. So there's no
yeah,
like jurisdictional barriers between provinces to actually consume. And we can drive across country. We can fly domestically.
what
Carry,
about for like business? What
yeah,
about the
we got retail
businesses?
stores. Yeah, retail stores and
yeah.
growing. Yeah.
We got
Is
we're like 1,800 stores here in Ontario.
and they can move about like in a business
Now,
and
there's regulations through the government, of course. You have to be licensed. You have to have no Businesses, it's not like setting up a regular business. There's licensing per se, I
Oh
guess.
yeah. So, but can
There's a
you
lot
move something from this side of Canada to this side of Canada,
Yeah.
kind of thing?
Yep.
I was smoking joints from BC before they were even in Tamara's
I
store.
still can't get
I
them
had
here.
I had to
Wow.
mail the joint to Tamara.
And we
So
can mail legally. We can mail between
yeah,
provinces
yeah,
across the country, 30 provinces.
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
The post office has special envelopes for us to mail cannabis across the country.
So with all of that, of course, comes a bunch of crimes when you don't follow the
No,
rules. I mean,
yeah,
so
we
no
have
matter
rules.
where you go, and with my own story, I
Yes,
come from
exactly. We're
that
not here to talk
world
about
of
Canada's legalization. Let's hear about your story. And
yeah. I mean, with my own story, it's sort of like um, we had a bit of an outline. But truly, my own story goes back to when I was like 8.5, and Stan the Man Stankler gave me a joint when I was, racing for Team Yamaha. No, it does though, because when did you first see weed? Well, it goes back even further. But the thing about it is though, when a lot of people ask me like, when did you first try cannabis. It's not about that. I used cannabis most of my life.
mm,
I was a stoner and jock in high school, college, and beyond. I raced cars. I marked up with my race car. And it's like, and
we sound
that
familiar.
that came to a slamming end with a lot of injuries that required cannabis and actually, the fact that I used THC before a massive TBI, we now know due to a ton of research that
Hmm.
it helped save my brain. And because I did have stroke in that wreck, we know that it limited the damage. It could have been much worse. I had paralysis. It could have been permanent. Instead, I walked for it within a year and a half with no aids, no assistance or anything. So
Nice.
when no cane, nothing. So that's the thing about it is, but did I use cannabis right yet? No, I still wasn't. I was smoking it, and someone say, wait, Mike, that's how I stopped this and that. Well, that's good. But I ended up with severe epilepsy in that wreck, and also the need for strong opioids for pain
Oh,
and a very legitimate one. I mean, there was a lot of broken bones,
yeah.
so let's just put it lightly, and then you know the bottom line though, I was never exposed because we just didn't know. Rick Simpson hadn't even made oil yet, so so we toked and we toked and weed became legal, and it blew my mind the year after I wrecked as I worked my way back to walking again to see Dennis Ferrone
Hmm.
with OG Eddie Lap, somebody about weed off of when I was in high school,
Eddie.
fueling this movement that I
Yeah.
mean the OG grew a lot of weed, a lot of people did, that supplied the San Francisco dispensary that Dennis Perone operated. And I bring those men both up because I ended up in their end of year bringing both of them or supplying both of them with different types of cannabis oils at different times that they're in their very last year,
Hmm.
and helping the OGs that started me out to be a teenage toker and stoner. I just felt was
Yeah.
appropriate. Now I would have done it anyway. I mean, the legends always deserve the help, but
Yeah.
in my own story, I stumbled upon how to use cannabis the right way. I seized after the wreck, after all that. I used every opioid in the book. I wore fentanyl
Oh,
patches, OxyContin, oxycodone, morphine, you name it was given to me. All I had to do, I mean, oh, this is very compelling, doc,
yeah.
here, I'm
Yeah.
hurt.
Yeah.
Look at this, bone. Look at my x-rays. I mean, that's all I had to do to a pain management doctor. They couldn't really say, we're
They
not going to help you.
put any metal in you? Did they
There's
put
no
any metal?
there's no metal at this time. There's nothing
Okay.
left. There's nothing but a lot of different repair done with a lot of
Hmm.
other wrap and mesh. I have like a mile of mesh in my abdomen now,
Oh.
so it's more of a situation where I didn't end up with cages and things like that, and that people with severe back injuries. Mine was to the head and to the other areas of my body. But the thing about that is a year and a half and I was walking good. Jump ahead to 2003 in my life, first time I got cancer, which is a big topic for me right now.
Yeah.
The first time I got cancer, 2003, chemo, only 6 rounds in, I was nailed.
Wow.
And my right side went numb again. I didn't walk again until 2006. Now, I still just got weed when I could and toked and smoked, and we didn't have these kind of, cool little
Mm,
devices to hit off. Mm,
What
mm,
kind? What kind of
But
cancer?
this is just, you can pick this. This thing is pretty cool. The markets here have all these interesting things. And this one you can like pick. You can like on one side there's one indica, on the other side. Do you guys have that too? I don't
We
know.
we I have a. This is my disposable, but you do you have a choice in
You
yours?
can chart, yeah, you can pick either one. This is a 2 gram gig. You
Oh,
can
you got
pick
two
either
different
one,
strains.
okay? Or you can
Oh,
hit both at one time and it's like a dab. Check this out.
oh wow,
Yeah, I
wow.
mean, you hit both at one time, and that's gonna nail you.
Oh yes.
So, I mean, off the hook. And I've had a cold and super clean stuff like this, which is liquid diamonds, and I know the California farm. I know that where it came from.
There you go.
Um, and
Bonus.
it's clean. I can use that after having a cold. And we get older and it's harder to toke, but
Hmm.
anyway, jump ahead in my life and I have severe epilepsy. After the racing wreck, I became a civil rights lobbyist, and that was because I came home from that wreck, to discover my own biological 3-year-old son, who's now in his 30s, you know, uh, um,
Hmm.
to have severe autism. And within a month and a half, I found my first nonprofit. Had several thereafter. Um, and things, life happened, decades went by. I specialized in representing kids with severe cases, kids in special ed all over the nation. Um, and I did more work as a non-attorney rep than anything else. And
Hmm.
then it got to the point to where I have epilepsy, so I had people with epilepsy coming to me with problems, and a mom with epilepsy coming to me a problem over discrimination at work, and then the next thing you know, that whole civil rights expanse comes out, and you're flooded with work because you're pro bono. And
Yes.
it's no different than
People.
really what I did in cannabis. I mean,
Yeah. People are looking
so
for answers. Right? They
so
got
people looking for
questions.
answers, right? So I had a
Yeah.
lot of people that I helped that were in need. Okay. And this is a pretty interesting gig to do with you guys because most people in the US don't know this history and don't tie it together at all if they do even know a tidbit of it. But I just laid some great groundwork. I mean, I spent not a year or two, but decades representing parents of kids with disabilities, okay, in
Yeah.
special education. So what does that mean? These are future kids down the road that I had no clue would need the exact oil that worked on me. Okay, I have severe epilepsy traveling around the nation, being spectrumy myself,
Yeah.
okay? And, and and here I am, in 2013, I have an incident where I seize like early in the morning, fall out of bed, and where I have a little pad set up because I always fell out of bed seizing at night. This time I tore ab muscles, and apparently it hurt so bad I wandered outside, fell on the ground, had the the EMTs show up like they did often
Mm,
after seizures. And if you could wake me up, I was signing an AMA. I don't care if I'm bleeding. I mean, if you're bleeding bad enough or obviously hurt, they just take you. You know what I mean? They
yeah.
don't care if you want to say no, but if you
Yeah.
can actually sit up and present yourself, say who you are. I know I had a seizure. I know where I'm at right now. This is what happened. Ouch, this hurts. I'm going to go in to urgent care or something like that. I don't need to have the funds spent,
Right.
and then you can sign away, right? So I did that, and I had several roommates at the time, and one of them was Fu Wang Chung from Korea, and
Mm,
he was. We called him Henry because nobody could say his name, So Henry became very popular around town. He did acupuncture. He made all these little herbal balls, and these herbal balls always helped your stomach, and they could relax you, and all kinds of interesting things. So we loved Henry's herbal medicines, and he'd wander off and do his stuff, cook really stinky food. I mean, interesting guy. You know what I mean? And when that happened to me, I tried to smoke some weed, and he came out. I was like, Michael son, no canidro, no canidro.
yeah.
And I was like, okay, yeah, I'm smoking weed. Okay. And I was like, okay, I can't smoke weed either. And he's like, I'll be back. Okay. I was like, okay. He's off and through the door. So I'm talking to other roommates. We started joking about this transaction. And he comes back and he's got these little herbal balls for me, tell me how they're gonna help me. In between that time, I had gone inside defeated and I had a bunch of weed ground up and
Yeah.
I couldn't eat anything. He was right, so I was following his instructions. I couldn't eat it all, and there's tofu out on the counter, and I was like, "Well, I like that. I guess he left it out for me." So I cut it up and I smashed my weed up in there and made some weed food. That's why I call it weed food.
Weed food.
I was
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna eat my weeds and see what
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah.
And obviously nothing really happened off the weed foo other than a disappointment, but, but, but Henry came home, of course, and brought his little herbal balls for me, and I was happy about that because they sort of bloated my stomach and I wasn't so hungry, right? Because
Right.
I'm always like starving because, I tore an ab muscle. He was right, I couldn't eat. So we're 24 hours into this, and these little more,
Mm,
more, more. No, can't eat it all, can't eat it all. And there's actually a YouTube video that's hardly seen that's about this subject. About a week goes by and I'm busy. This is my home office. And I also
yeah.
have roommates. I lease the home and I rent out 3 of the 4 bedrooms, and that covers the rent kind of thing. And I have the master and have like my home office set up. As a lobbyist, I got like 3 computers and like a U-shaped desk scene, and and I'm working all the time.
Yeah.
And I worked through all this stuff, and the ab muscles all messed up and I can't eat it all. And I got very productive, super productive. It
Listen.
was incredible. And then one day I just realized, I woke up and there was no pad on the floor like I always put down because I would seize and fall out of bed. And I was like, this thing hasn't been there for a week. And somebody told me Nestle creamer, other things in my diet cause seizures. And I didn't believe it.
Listen.
And I was like, whoa, they're right.
Yeah. All right.
I
Yeah.
can't eat. I haven't been able to eat for like 10 days,
You
something
gotta.
like that.
Yeah. Foods you gotta avoid. I know. I know all
That's
about
it.
that.
And I'm like, there's like hardly anything left. To give me this large pill bottle of this can't eat all stuff, taking all these Chinese herbs. I kept making weed food, you know.
Mm,
I'm like, I'm tired of this, man. I figured it out. Boom. And I like some friends were there, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a roommate was there too, and they were smoking weed. And I figured out how to put on a muscle belt, you know, and take a hit or two. You know what I mean? So I could at least take a hit or two, right? You know, and
Yeah.
and anyway, so I was getting ready to go do all this, and Harry comes walking through the door as I tossed his little pills into the garbage. And he's like, Michael, son, no, I'm like, okay, I had enough of this. Can you just write it down? And I'm busy. I'm like working all night, suing school districts and whatnot, because that's what I did. You know, you know, I hear there's a timeout cell. I heard a kid got hurt. Let's get the information. I don't need much.
Okay.
Boom, boom, boom. File the pleading, get the information. You can always withdraw it. You know what I mean? As long as you got some information, you've got the reason and cause to do so. And as a non-attorney, you're not talking about complicated actions. You know what I mean? So anyway, I was busy a lot. So I'm like, Henry, here's a pen and paper, just write it down. I was sort of in a bad mood. They were like rolling a joint to smoke, and I knew I couldn't smoke it. And a CA, and he's writing stuff down, and they're calling me over. Hey, Mike, and I'm like, Cannabi is what he has. I'm like, S. He's right, S. I
Yes.
smoke weed, okay? I want to smoke weed, all right? And
Yeah.
he was like, no, cannabidiol, or canidol. He goes, no, canidol.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I go
Our,
in and sit down behind my computer, because that word I just said, I had no idea what it was. And all I knew was I love THC. I like to get high. I love weed. You know what I
well, as they
mean?
say, you can't spell healthcare without THC.
You know what I mean? It does a lot for me. When it was passed as medicine, I was like, right on, because this actually helps me. It helps
Yeah.
me all the way around with so many different problems I have, from PTSD on and on, just to blaze, just to smoke a joint. You know what I mean? And as a researcher now, and 7 years into founding the Global Cannabinoid Research Center, I still
Mm.
defend that position, still smoke joints left, because the bottom line of it is, it's based on your own lung health, and we haven't proven that everything is so bad about smoking a joint. We walk around in an environment of harm filled with
Yeah.
carcinogens everywhere we go,
I'm
everything we
a
touch. So
I'm
anyway,
a joint smoker.
bottom line of it is, I go sit down behind that desk and I type in CANNABI plus can't eat it all. I'm just trying to figure out what it means, and do all the pluses. Can't see it plus, can't plus, eat plus, at.
Oh,
Like,
okay. All
okay,
right.
what is he meaning? What does cannabis have to do with somebody who can't eat? That's really going through my
Well,
mind,
they
and
can. Yeah, it can help with me. I know that.
but what popped up was Charlotte, with Paige Figi holding
Oh,
Charlotte,
really? Okay.
and
Yeah.
it
Charlotte
fixed the
Figi. Yeah.
search from cannabis to cannabidiol. Can't eat it all. Cannabidiol
Yeah.
is what he was trying to say. So here I am, weed fooing it. What is that doing? I'm frying THC. So some
Mm.
of it's getting decarbed, some of it isn't. I'm getting THC, CA, I'm getting terps, I'm getting flavonoids, and I'm ingesting them. Boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom. I know now all these things to be incredible medicines besides the THC. Forget about that, the flavonoids. Oh my God, the polyphenols and the weed
Yeah.
itself are medicine. Incredible medicine. So on and on, just incredible. So at the same time, I realized he's making balls of, I don't know what, CBD, and it's definitely out of the plant. So I start looking at those things. I'm like, wow. I'm like ingesting like something like resins of this CBD stuff, and I go and I start typing away on my Facebook, where I'm a civil rights lobbyist, where I've active open lawsuits, where other attorneys, even their
Yep.
paralegals, follow just to see what I'm doing. And suddenly a bunch of weed stuff drops. Boom, 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 boom. And I just
Oh,
come
just what I
out,
needed.
bam. I mean, and I'm a stoner and it's known, but I'm not, and I'm for legalization, for all that professionally,
Mm-hmm.
and and the attacks were pretty incredible on one end of this scene because it was like people that didn't like it, but the worst part about it was because I posted, does anybody have this kind of weed? And I posted a picture of the girl, and her mom holding her in the Charlotte and
Yeah.
her mom and in the article, and I'm sorry, this thing just sort of nailed me. You know what I mean? But but the thing about it is
We are
yeah, it
talking
nailed
zone.
me, and yeah, it was that double hit. But there it was, and here I am, and the crossover happens because suddenly I'm faced with this big controversy that if I'm a cannabis user, I possibly can't be this. You know what I mean? And that became real when I started getting booted off cases with motion to dismisses because I was, under the influence of
An
a Schedule
influence.
One substance. And how am I going to respond? You just replace yourself and leave, and it was one of those gigs where, I crossed over so quick. It was incredible how quickly I crossed over. It was almost as fast as I moved from loving THC to loving other cannabinoids that I'm going to consume right here while we're talking.
Sure.
Well,
Yeah.
when I find myself so medicated that it's beyond where I want to be, I balance myself because our endocannabinoid system is literally a machine. And what I'm doing right now is just stuffing a capsule into a big gig of CBGA keef. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And, and
Yeah.
and I'm using a cannabinoid unlike CBD at all, because this is a foundational cannabinoid. It's the mother major, as I named her, or the mother cannabinoid that makes, THCA, CBCA,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and CBDA. But by consuming, it's about 150 milligrams and a half gram, uh, it'll start centering me real quick. It'll start balancing me. I've already
Correct.
used plenty of it earlier in the day, but it'll start balancing me out real fast. You know what I mean? My vision gets clear. But I stay on track.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Um, I see
yeah,
that it's it's time for us to take a break. Okay, we're going to go for a quick commercial break. We'll be about 3 minutes, right?
okay.
And then when we come back, um, in our communications that we had before the show, um, Genevieve's dream.
Genevieve's dream.
We'll
Yeah,
talk about
we'll
that
talk
when we
about that
we'll
because
talk about that when we come
that's where
back from
we
the
roll
break.
into. Sounds great.
All right. Okie dokie. All right.
Okay,
Sounds good. Tamara and I
thanks.
and our guest, Mike Robinson, will be right back in about 3 minutes. You're watching the Pace Radio Show. We're live here at paceradio.net and 420pace.ca. We are people advocating cannabis education here at paceradio.net. Limestone City Hydroponics is Kingston, Ontario's hydroponics shop. Take your growing to the next level and create the optimal environment with a tent kit, or maximize your yield with an ebb and flow flood table kit. Either way, Limestone City Hydroponics has more sizes and options to fit your needs. Are you looking for the power of the sun that adapts to your budget? Then look no further, as they have professional grow lighting. They have indoor grow systems that are easy and cost effective, with many options to fit your living space and lifestyle. Cultivate your growing potential. We have everything you need to succeed. And if you can't make it to the store, they offer local delivery to the greater Kingston area. Remember, when you're looking for experts to help you grow, then look no further than the locally owned Limestone City Hydroponics, 105 Sunderland Drive in Kingston, Ontario. Call them at 613-548-0420. Rerolled Saturdays. Check it out. Nothing but non-stop cannabis and psychedelic programming. Find it at 420pace.ca.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
Are you looking to get your medical cannabis grow license? Limestone City Hydroponics can help patients through the process of obtaining their license to grow medical cannabis. What's that? You don't have a doctor. If you meet the medical criteria, Limestone City Hydroponics has a nurse practitioner who can assess and provide medical cannabis prescriptions. What are you waiting for? Contact Limestone City Hydroponics at limestonecityhydroponics.ca or call them at 613-548-0420.
PACE Radio is the People Advocating Cannabis Education Radio Network.
Legacy 420 have an awesome array of cannabis-infused beverages, from pop to Nature's Nectar's teas, all in amazing flavors. What a selection! We even have a delicious mango-infused juice, and let me tell you, it's delicious.
Everything is infused in-house, so we buy our syrup from the same place where everybody else buys their syrup for their pop, and the infusion is done in the lab. It's all canned here, labeled here, produced 100% on Tyndonega.
We have two lines of drinks. One is called our Nature's Nectar. That was our original line that we came out with. And then we also have a line under the Red E brand. We have them in 10 milligrams, 30 milligram, and 60 milligram cans.
What a great selection for a get-together with friends or after a long day. Remember, if you want to wet your whistle with on-site lab-tested products, come see your trusted partner. Legacy 420 out on your road.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
And you're watching the Pace Radio Show. We are live here with our guest, Mike Robinson. He's the founder of the Global Cannabinoid Research Center. Okay, Mike, what we're going to touch on in this segment of the show is something that you're working on. That's something that is dear to your heart. And that is, and unfortunately, I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name right, but Genevieve? Genevieve, okay. Genevieve's dream and the love story.
Yeah, so, I was telling you about how I discovered ingesting cannabis, and I went from that to providing cannabis as compassion, just literally giving it away through programs. After that conversion over was simple because I had this long list of people I'd helped for the last 20 years who were disabled, who could use cannabis oils already. So once I created a compassion program, it just got bigger and bigger and bigger so fast. It was crazy. And I just started traveling. At one point in 2014, I bent over to pick something up, and I felt the crack in my shoulder, and it was unfortunately a fracture inside the bone. When I went to ER, it was bone metastasis, and we discovered I had non-Hodgkin's. I came back from 2003, and the first time I'd had it, and so I went at treating my own cancer. At first, I was just treating epilepsy and pain, and things like that, and so it's just incredible how that compassion trail eventually, after several years where I and doctors didn't think I was going to really live that long, I continued, and until one day I got a phone call from a mom and in need, and it was late at night, and normally I didn't have my notifications on my phone, and it was for Genevieve. And the next morning I came and saw her, and and we developed a bond from the beginning, and it was very strong. One where I felt this sense of needing to be here, and it was sort of an odd feeling, after being through hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of different places and homes and with different people and groups, and it just was incredible that we came together, and this image that you're showing is from the very next year, 2017. It only took 3 months for me to come back and forth. Her mom and I started seeing each other the second month I came back,
Mm-hmm.
and we dated, once a month, and got together. And Genevieve, who'd spent the summer before hospitalized with so many seizures, it was incredible. She was having 25, 30 grand mal seizures a day, couldn't go to
Oh,
school. Um, you know, this girl couldn't speak. She held her iPad, and suddenly her life just changed over the
you,
oil. And
you can see
and
there in the picture. You can see there in the
yeah,
picture. She's got
and
her iPad.
and our
Yep.
story just unfolded,
Yeah.
over the years. Quickly we became a family. I came in December 2016 for the Christmas vacation. Spent 2 weeks, and after only being gone for a few days, I got some video back where she was calling me daddy,
Oh,
verbally, nonverbal autism speaking, So her and her little sister Sydney, I bonded with so heavily,
mm-hmm.
and Genevieve, and we go here locally and ride this carousel and have a blast, and it was just a place to go, and our family just came together in just this intense way. Anne Marie, Genevieve's mom, quit drinking um, after a life of drinking, and started using cannabis and the oils and everything else, in replacement,
Good.
and it just continued as cancers went into remissions, and I continued to get better. All of us, we just were thriving more and more.
Good.
The only thing that wasn't there was the carousel. It had left, and that's where the name Genevieve's Dream comes from. First, I created a nonprofit and a website called Carousel Challenge, and that's all being worked on, the Genevieve'sDream.com website and the Carousel Challenge website. First, I created the Carousel Challenge and challenged everybody to go on a carousel ride for Genevieve. Created a nonprofit, figured maybe that I'll fund it and we'll replace the carousel that was there. That didn't work. I tried every avenue possible. Took her to Circus, had events, you name it. Then I decided, hey, I'm going to create a CBGA tincture, because that's something I brought to Genevieve in the very beginning when she couldn't use CBD. So this Genevieve's Dream thing has all these meanings. It's the root of what helped her from the very beginning and all the way to the point of now, and it's the balancing agent that works for both her and I in the same
Mm-hmm.
way. We're able to use THC effectively onward without worrying about tolerance and issues like that, because we use a balancing cannabinoid, and so it went on for years, though. I'll tell you, I founded Genevieve's Dream Incorporated in February 2020 with this huge plan, and the pandemic came and everything shut down. And then I tried, and there was all these different joint venture tries and this and that, and we had a lot of hurdles that we just couldn't jump over, and things just didn't quite happen. But every story I think has those kind of things, and anyone of success that I know of, And one thing I can say is that ours is ending that way. I mean, the website is all under construction, and Genevieve's dream, the brand CBGA, finally in 2025 will launch with a hard launch for several
Nice.
products, along with a brand called Researcher, that professionalizes the Researcher OG branding that I had on the market in early 2024. Um, and brings it from a very tight knit hemp farm, a soil to oil type of operation, where
Mhm.
products are made for out of quality, um, in a way where that is the whole mission. Quality is before quantity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We'll get the
So,
quantity afterwards. We've got the quality down pat right now. Um, doing something, and I quote Jerry Garcia, I guess it was Bill Graham that said, they're not the best at what they do. They're the only ones that do what they do. And I don't want to be the best. I just want to be unique. And I
yeah.
think that our story is unique, and what we're going to bring
Mhm.
to the public is very unique. You know, um,
No, it's like
offering people that use other cannabinoids different options with CBGA, CBG, and various formulations between the two different brands that offer ECS balance control, that offer the same thing that I just did while we were talking. You
yeah.
know,
So so this is a new product that you're going to be having coming out.
yeah, I
Yeah.
have two
Yeah.
different product lines that are coming out,
Okay.
and they're coming out in the U.S.
Yeah.
First.
It's U.S.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then hopefully we'll see how we can get them in Canada. And the thing about it is everything's possible. I think that people need to hold on to their mission, whatever mission you had, in September. Keep going,
hmm Now
keep
Genevieve.
going forward. You can't stop right now because the world's in chaos and go, we're doomed.
Yeah.
It's 1984 and George Orwell. We can't do that, because if we do, you know, literally the negative powers win,
Right.
and we are suppressed. So we don't want to be oppressed by being suppressed. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? We
Um.
have to continue being positive and forward moving people in everything that we do and whatever mission we have. You know,
Now.
and I think that for us, it's just been important to keep pushing.
Genevieve. She has autism. Correct.
Genevieve has severe autism and epilepsy. Yeah.
Okay. Now, did I see something about a post, something to do with? Have you used your products with um, children or adults with dealing with ADHD?
Well, I can't, make claim to
No,
products
I
being
understand that.
used for ADHD. I'm
Yeah.
a
Okay.
researcher that can talk about, ADHD and cannabinoids, and
hmm
under that topic, what I can say as the founder of the Global Cannabinoid Research Center, and in that role, is that it's overwhelming, the research that we have in regards to the harm of pharmaceuticals that have been, customarily given to kids with ADHD in comparison to cannabinoid use, and what negative effects we find with cannabinoid use, all the way to THC. I mean, I get so tired of reading all these negative reports, and long drawn out studies that call for more studies, that call for more. And this is a job for professional researchers who don't even smoke weed, have never even been around a plant. I mean, they're not studying a plant or anything. They're doing research based on the request of somebody else. And
hmm
it's always bad. And what we find is that kids have done better, even with small doses of THC involved. and
Mhm.
kids with ADHD that have done better with small doses of THC involved, um, actually written down on paper so I'm clear in my role and not under fire. Are There's one kid in the room next door, okay? So there's basically a stepdaughter. You scrolled by her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's Genevieve's little sister, and that is the diagnosis she has. And a small dose of that at night allows her to wind down and sleep and not have
Yeah.
rapid thoughts and bad dreams. So
Slow the mind down.
yeah, so I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah. I think Tamara's got a phrase for that. She calls it squirrel brain. Because
Yeah,
squirrel brain.
squirrel
squirrel
brain.
brain, because it.
It's like a hamster. I'm on a hamster wheel all the time, and everything's just going a million miles a minute. Both ears are going. There's 60 voices telling me what I should be doing. Even as I'm sitting here, I should be doing this and I should be doing that. But I'm sitting here, right?
Yeah, that's like that's that's like me a lot too. I'll tell you. I mean, it's
Yep.
like so many
I also
things.
I also smoked a lot of cannabis for over the years, and I found that it was not effective enough for what I was needing, right? And I've taken the tinctures and the CBDs and the CBHs and the CBCs and everything you can think of, and I tap and I take Vyvanse, and it's been a real awakening at 55.
Yeah, so I mean, and you found what worked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's what is so important. I get
Mhm.
people that come to me because of the cancer battles I've been through. I mean, I just went through another scene where I thought I was going to be fighting cancer again after being in full remission, and now I'm not celebrating full remission, and people are congratulating me because UCLA told me that I had a misdiagnosis of a relapse. So I guess I'm celebrating Mental Health Day, or week, because
Yeah.
I've had a month of hell. It could be 2 months that it takes to recover from this. I mean, it's pretty
Mhm.
harsh, actually getting a letter, and see, you have cancer. And it's like,
Oops, now we made a mistake.
I actually got a diagnosis in the mail.
Oh, that's how they told you? They just sent you a letter in the mail?
Yeah, I have it here. You know what I mean? And
Oh.
yeah, and it came in the form of a notice of denial from my insurance company denying me a visit with the oncologist because he was no longer approved to see me. Now,
Oh.
it could have been because he didn't ask for the appointment before ordering a PET, and the PET came back positive. Okay, but
Mm.
they had to determine what positive meant. Okay, now when I read the PET, I don't have the actual film. I just have the report. So
Right.
I'm reading, okay, uptake went up. I'm now over,
Are
and I
you
was
hearing this?
barely, what's that?
I'm just asking Alec, are you hearing this? Like, oh my God.
I
Yeah.
know.
So it's like, so the uptake is barely over 12.1. It's 12.1 right now, and over 12 they could call it a relapse.
Mm.
So I meet with UCLA. It takes a month after getting my records on my own because they couldn't even be uploaded to the system because there's no doctor. So this was like a nightmare. I went and had a PET for 10 days. I had no answer, and finally went to the
Oh.
hospital on my own, where I asked them, have you ever given a patient their results to a PET? And she was like, no, like never. How long have you
Wow.
worked here? 12 years. And then I open it and it's positive. Then I bump into the doctor who ended up saying, and he tells me, I'm going to fix everything. I'm going to get it all. We'll see you really soon. And I
Oh.
get this thing in the mail that says I've been denied, can't see him. But I have non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and it explains to me exactly what's wrong with me. And I'm on and on, swollen lymph nodes, and this and that. And This is what lymphoma
Wow.
is. Okay, so and then it takes a month for me to get into UCLA Health and finally, talk to a doctor who literally booted me out of his office. I mean, like,
Why?
irritated. I mean, he didn't boot me out of his office. He was just like, he looked at it all, and I was like, I want to hear what you have to say. He was like, and he just rolled it out there. He was like, these are the two areas you have. You have two swollen lymph nodes. They're barely clinically swollen. They're both flashing positive because they're swollen.
Mm.
And that's what you have. A mass would be a cluster of lymph nodes. So the report isn't quite right compared to the film. And when you look at the film, which is what you got to do as an oncologist, you have to determine if there's a cancer there. Because and I was referred to see you because of your history of non-Hodgkin's and a diagnosis of non-Hodgkin's, but you have a bone marrow biopsy that's negative. And I was like, thank you.
Yeah.
And he was like, what? I was like, I just thank you. This has
Mm.
been my thought for quite some time, but there's that little voice in the back of your head saying, man, don't bite yourself in the car my ass, thinking you're going to be just fine. The first time I had cancer was 2003. 6 rounds of chemo caused paralysis. It took me 3 years to walk again. I got in a
Oh.
racing wreck. It took 18 months to walk again fine without assistance after a racing wreck, going 180 miles an hour. But
Ah.
chemo, 6 treatments, 3 years to walk again with every assistance possible. Man, so when it came back to getting cancer again in
No, that's gotta be
2015,
devastating.
I fought cancer for 2 years before it, and on the road bringing oils all over. Then met Genevieve, and her mom wasn't the impression; it was the patient. And then I got to know mom. As we
Yep.
interacted, how are these things working? What can I bring? And it just was an old fashioned love story. And I look
Yeah.
forward to actually writing the book. And what's
It-
coming really soon is a dual edged blog that people are going to love in Canada, even if they can't buy products there from Genevieve's Dream website. 'Cause
mhm.
we can't sell them there. What you're going to love is the education on
Yeah.
Genevieve's Dream website. I'm going to be doing research reviews on just dropping research, even preprints, things that aren't even in journals yet. So I'll be beating Marijuana Moment by far. You know what I mean? I'll be way ahead of that game because I am. I
Yeah.
get to see a lot of things because of my position. So I'm going to start sharing a lot of reviews that people can read that are just broken down in ways people can read them. And over on the Cannabis Love Story website, I'm going to start doing blogs more so of what went on in Jen's day or our day or our life or, kind of thing, because one thing I do have to be careful of is product claims. Once we have
Yeah.
brands out and things like that, but have to be very careful of saying, I use this to treat my this. You can't, you take a bottle of Genevieve's Dream and put it over Genevieve's mouth and say it's for epilepsy. That's totally against the law, and it's not even true. It's to
Mm.
offset a different cannabinoid that we don't sell. You know what I mean? I mean, because she takes THC, CBN at night, just like I do. I mean,
Yeah.
we need it. You know, it's the Red
No.
Eye Express. She's 21 years old now, and
Oh.
and what's exciting is the carousel challenge, is something
And what
anybody.
is it? Yeah, what exactly is the carousel challenge?
Okay, that's going to actually bring you carouselchallenge.com. Right now, it's sort of a dead end, but it's going to bring you right to that page on our website that tells people what to do, what it is,
Hmm.
and basically to sum it up, go for a ride for Genevieve on a carousel. Take a photo. Um, post a photo with a hashtag carousel challenge and tag our page on Facebook that you showed earlier,
Yeah.
or provide it to me and I'll put it up there for you. If you let me know where you're at and all that kind of thing, just hit me up on Messenger somewhere or by email or through our contact form or any way possible, and we'll put it up there. So participating in the Carousel Challenge, I think for the cannabis industry and forget the industry, the community, the people,
Yeah.
I mean, everybody out there, that needs something other than a bunch of angst and who said what and who got fired today and who's mad. Wow. I didn't get much
Hmm.
put up today, but I've been concentrating much more on that page lately because it's really fun. Genevieve's happy, smiling, and
Exactly.
her world is surrounded by the carousel. It moved her way in 2017, a year after we met, and continually she wakes up to dreams of that carousel. And I made Carousel Challenge as a nonprofit, as a compassion provider, still fighting the system to get things away. and
Hmm.
and and I didn't finally say, okay, I'm going to go into the corporate world. I didn't agree to be part of any corporation at all until I founded Genevieve's Dream Corporation. And then, as that sort of didn't go anywhere, I've been writing a blog for a nanotechnology food and beverage entity for using essential oils, which I was into. I was like, okay, if that's all that's going on, our essential oils are being made soluble, I'm down. And 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 um, and now I own 90% of that corporation. Yeah, and I've merged the Global Cannabinoid Research Center into it, and we've got a total of, of about 10 different registered trademark
Oh,
brands for the nutraceutical space, and um, the Genevieve's Dream and Researcher are my own deal, and
yeah.
but I can say that the Global Cannabinoid Research Center and Mandibles Corporation are in contract with the exact same farm, to produce several other different interesting things down the
Nice.
road, for the public. And many of these things that Mandibles Corporation and Global Cannabinoid Research Center have worked on for quite some time. We're talking a
Hmm.
lot of years. These things are registered trademarks. That means the formulations are even older than that. And it takes years to get to that point.
Exactly.
So stabilization means a lot to me. And we have like essential oil food flavorings, carcinogen free natural food preservatives that we're working on. But things like nano terps, made with botanicals as well as made from off the hemp farm, are coming forward from Nanobols. We have an indole alkaloid line, we have called indole A. Um, the list goes on. I have an
Yeah.
endocannabinoid system um, balance package under Get Balanced, which is a registered trademark for a brand that has nothing but nutraceuticals. There's nothing cannabis involved. These are all the precursor things that I take myself after years and years of research on the endocannabinoid system to make it function at its proper level. And when the one question UCLA did have for me is, how did you make it through 2 years of mesenteric cancer with a negative biopsies? More than once they got nothing but dead flesh going after tumors. And the bottom line of it was, look, it was much more than cannabinoid medicine. I work also on endocannabinoid medicine. So and I'm
Okay.
very
Yeah.
aware that that university is doing a lot of research. The last thing I was going to talk about was cannabinoids. but
Mm.
but when I say endocannabinoid medicine, they just go, huh?
Well,
But
what are you talking about? It's
if
like
I,
a fellow up here in Ontario by the name of Jack Kungle. He always says, it's much more than just taking the oil. You got to do other things too, right?
you got it. I mean,
Yeah.
it comes down to our lifestyle. I mean,
Yeah.
how much exercise do we get, and relevant to our age, relevant to our disability and our life, our unique self, and can we get some more, and if we get more, is it going to help our ECS? Yes. And more and more and more, what I look at are therapies that get people out of bed. And when we first started all this, we looked at therapies that put people in bed. And they truly did. I mean, a gram a day for 60 days will kill every single cancer you have. I mean, that was the RSO claim. And I'm sorry, there's people that could want to say, "Oh, he's wrong." I'm sorry. No, 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 no. I will never, ever, ever back that message. Because it's universal. It's like taking Valium for stress. Take 3 tabs, 3 times a day. And that person could be a stressed out mess, not like it, or sleep all day, or be unable to drive and wreck. You never know the individual response of a human. So I believe we've got to the point in knowledge in the endocannabinoid system, at least some of us, where we can look at what are the unique needs of patients. And a lot of patients, especially as we age, are needing upregulation. We've smoked weed for a long time. We've downregulated our system, on and on and on. And we need these sunshine kind of cannabinoids. And these are the ones that sort of get us up in the morning and get us going with a clear head, and get rid of that fog we have, not just because of being sick, but because we got old. I mean, and when I say aging, I want to make sure anybody that's 30 realizes I'm including them, because we start aging. We do. Once we're born, we start aging, and when it
Well, we
comes to
do.
medical, when we become 1 year old, we aged a year. So I mean, we age from the time we were born until the time we
Yep.
die. So
Yep.
so aging in itself and the processes in it can be slowed in many different ways. We're finding the potential in research, I guess use those words, are incredible with various cannabinoids in anti-aging.
Yeah.
And this matters if you're 30, because, guess who's the number one class of people with early onset Alzheimer's? It's not 70 through 80. No, the early onset class now jumps down, dipping into 38.
Wow.
Yeah, so if
Oh.
you're 38 years old, you're part of the stat where it starts and moves on up into 50. Into the 50s, so like 38 to 54.
Mm.
And this is just one research study that I dove into, but early onset has been rapidly dropping to age 40 for quite some time. And I knew eventually we're going to see it dip below that. And what's going on is forgetfulness is sometimes a little bit more than that. And what we're also finding is the endocannabinoid system literally is the master regulator of everything,
Yeah.
and it can clear and create neuropaths. People have looked at cannabinoids for every last answer, and what I look at is cannabinoids for every last answer for what's wrong with the endocannabinoid system. I don't look at billing codes anymore. I've been through so much crap with doctors, so many diagnostics that ended up being not there, so much just crap, and
Mm.
and I look at what they do, and I talked to my own primary care doctor about this, and she was like, Mike, I would be a liar not to admit I'm in profit, not practice, because I open my doors and I do look at the number of patients that have been seen. I do look at this bottom line all the time, because there's no way for me to see you right now unless I have a net profit that's enough for me to justify staying open. And that's no different than the guy with the jewelry shop downtown or the bicycle repair shop, you know, a
Gotta
mechanic
have
or anybody
customers.
else.
Makes you a customer, not a patient,
So,
eh?
so I mean, people getting into medicine because they're there to help people is gone. Even the UCLA guy that helped me out so much, I asked him a couple other questions unrelated. And this guy is
Mm,
professor of medicine formerly, unrelated to oncology. Look, Mr. Robinson, we're here to discuss and consult on oncology and hematology. That's my specialty. I'm like,
yeah.
don't you have MD and weren't you a professor of medicine? Can't you answer a simple question about two drugs? No,
No.
no. I mean, so they've got to a point of admitting who they are, and we as patients need to be smart enough to realize that and say some of these treatments being offered are wrong. Imagine what would have happened to me had I had an oncologist, had I had the actual oncologist who referred out with that cancer. Easily, he could have convinced me that I relapsed with the same cancer. And what would
Mm,
he have done? Had I been any other person other than me, chemo, I would have said, okay, treat me. I would have,
right.
this same doctor's already mentioned the necessity to use Rituxan, which is part of R-CHOP. It's a chemo just to decrease the swelling.
Oh,
And I was like, you got to be kidding me. This is a harsh, harsh drug. There's swelling in the abdomen and you want to make me sick. How
oh
does this
yeah.
make sense? Yeah. So when it comes down to it, you know, I leave oncology after over 2 years in full remission, which I have been in
Good.
full remission for like 6 months now, and or longer. You know, according to UCLA, more like a year,
Hmm.
which is pretty incredible. You know,
Yeah.
so you know, instead of getting upset over what doctors do wrong, we have to get upset over what nature does right. You know, because that's truly get upset, get happy. Sorry about that. We need to be happy over what nature does right. Yeah, because truly that's what it's all about. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, cannabinoids and terpenes, you know, they're both classes of terpenoids. A lot of people
Yeah.
don't know
Yeah.
that. There's over 60,000 terpenoids in nature. And
Hmm.
it's just incredible that cannabinoids have made it to the place they have. That a plant that I used to chop up on a rolling tray and look over my shoulder, you know, is now the center point of a system in our body that controls everything.
Yeah. It's
And it
amazing,
makes me
isn't it? Eh?
feel like so I display my high time. You know, I got this high times top 100 gig, you know, for 2021. And
Okay, nice, nice.
you know, and I'm
I
like,
seen I seen High Times had did an article or something on you. One of the top 100 cannabis influencers or something.
yeah, they did that like 3 years, you know, and then stopped. But you know, High Times itself is used to be much bigger than it is now. Of
Yeah,
course,
it's for sale
when
now
things were
too.
illegal and they were popping stuff out, they're massively huge. And I think a lot of people discount High Times a little bit too much, um, although they did open a lot of dispensaries.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
have not fixed the typo in the original article on Genevieve. I got that award and I asked them I would to fix it, and then I would go to the award ceremony, and they didn't, so I didn't go. So they gave me
Oh,
another
why
big
would they
one.
fix it?
It's just a typo,
Well,
but it's
yeah, it's
quoting it
still, yeah, they should
wrong.
fix it. Yeah,
It's
right.
quoting. It's quoting. So this is what they did, though, and this is where I love. I'm a lover of Fat Nugs, and I love Fat Nugs magazine. I just straight up
Do
do.
you?
I
Yeah, we've
write
we've
for Fat
we've we've
Nugs.
had Dustin on before. Yeah.
Okay, I love them. Okay, Dustin, stand up man, looking to include everybody. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? So,
Yeah.
and talk about working from scratch. So,
And it's
so
hard to
and
make it in print media these days too.
it is, and to keep
Yeah.
going out of passion is hard when
Hmm.
everybody around you thinks that you're making money when you're not. I even did at one point had to go, man, he's not. You know what I mean? And but the bottom line of it is I can't wait to write for Fat Nugs again. And I dig on them. High Times is great. Being in the top 100, it was the last one they've ever had. They only had three of those.
Yeah.
Years 2018, 19, 21. So I felt very honored to be on the list, and they could have just picked anyone. Some say, oh, well, it sells magazines if you have a lot of followers. Well, I don't have that many. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So I feel like they honored me for just my advocacy in beating stage 4 cancers and being
Yeah.
public
Oh,
about it.
that's
I I went from compassion to the end of compassion in California under Prop 64 to old guy Dr. David Bierman, give me a
Dr.
call and
Dave. Yeah.
offering me in as a director of communications at the American Academy of Cannabinoid Medicine.
Nice.
And I spent 2018, and what he said to me on the phone was, "Look, Mike, you can legitimize yourself here," and it's exactly what happened. And this office, I've grown to love.
Mm,
I would show you all of it, but it could embarrass me. Um,
that's all right.
but
Yeah,
but
I've got I got Dr. Berman listed as one of the cannabis researchers on the PACE website.
Dr. Dave is a legend. I've always
Yeah.
referred to him as like the Meshulam of America,
Yeah.
but and what his knowledge on law and what happens surrounding prohibition after prohibition all just goes on and on. And the guy founded the Haight-Ashbury Clinic,
Mm,
1969, San Francisco. That's some history right there.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So and then Isla Vista here in Santa Barbara, it was the second San Francisco basically at the time. And he came in and founded that one. And so working under Dr. Dave, was awesome,
Mm,
and it's where I went from that straight gonna do what I want compassion person, light it up anywhere, to okay, I gotta
yeah.
temper myself. I'm in a crowd of people with suits.
Mm,
I'm getting ready to speak. I can't speak like I do in a rally forum. It's got to be in a forum that everything I write has to be in this form, on and on. And I think that eventually led me towards founding the Global Cannabinoid Research Center.
yeah.
Politics, of course, happens in any kind of gig like the academy, but it's gone now, and I'm glad I'm here, because I went away from all that stuff. I don't look at how some journal wants me to write. The GCRC is privatized, and an
Yeah.
Animals Corporation does R&D for that. And what I write is for both public knowledge that I share, and at the same time for R&D for the entity. So what I like to do is look at stuff that I have to go deep, deep, deep into, and then share the surface of that to the public that needs to learn, because we don't get anything from all these big billionaire giants. you
No.
know I mean, I can't get excited about millionaires and billionaires or stuff like that all
No.
over America. Maybe I want to be one, but not that kind of one. I want to give stuff
Yeah,
away.
your path is more just helping people. and helping them improve the
I love
quality
to
of life through
laugh
cannabis.
too, and that was a funny joke. I mean, the successfulstoner.com leads right into researcher OG, so does cannabis comedian. You know, I loved it.com. But I love to joke around. But truly, I mean, I don't get that excited about all that because I don't see a lot of good coming from all that. I think it's all within it. I think all of us can do a lot of good for each other, and and I think as much as all of us can, focusing on that part of it, the love
Mm-hmm.
element. That's what I love about the cannabis love story, and bringing Genevieve's dream to life allows
Mm-hmm.
me that because the commitment is in calling the farm the dream farm. So I can't wait. We're
Good.
only probably 7 to 10 days from dropping a website,
All right.
and that Genevieve'sDream.com will come live, and it'll have the carousel challenge on it, with
Yeah.
instructions of what to do, and how to go on the challenge, and just that alone is a lot of fun, you
Well,
know.
when it's live, send me the link, and I'll make sure that I share it. Let everybody know where
Well,
it
you
is.
have it already. It's Genevieve's
Oh,
dream.
okay. I
So
got
it's
so many.
yeah. So it's yeah. So but I'll definitely let you know.
Yes.
So the progression of all this is Genevieve is now almost 22 years old, and when I came here, she just turned 13. So
Uh,
that's how long this family has grown together. um and I beat cancer, and I was on addicted to pharmaceutical opioids for 24 years. I quit that in
oh.
January 2019. um so we've gone through so much as a family. To
Yep.
get sick again and have to take a few again was hard, but now I'm a year on my birthday coming up on March 3rd. I'll be a year opioid free again.
Excellent.
I
Congratulations.
just I didn't take that many, but it was taking any at all was hard. I
Yeah.
had to go to counseling. It was like they got irritated at me too. They were like, I could tell everybody was mad because I was like, you're taking a 5 milligram Norco, which is like hydrocodone now. So
Mm-hmm.
this is not a big pill. This is a tiny dose of opioid, especially for someone with cancer pain. and and one is all take a day.
One.
And then I need to see the counselor over it, and they just yeah. But I got through it, So
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I got through with a little help from my friend.
Exactly. Exactly. For sure.
Well,
Alrighty.
it's been
I
fun, huh?
I see it's the bottom of the hour. We've reached the end of the program. As far as websites where people can find you, anybody wants to reach out looking for some information, where can people find you at?
ResearcherOG.com
Okay,
is the website to come straight to me.
good.
Yeah, that one's live right now. The
Yeah,
Global Cannabinoid Research Center has its own website, nanobols.com. I don't want to flood people with a bunch of websites. So
yeah. Okay. Well, this is
Researcher
the
OG.
researcher. This is the researcher OG website right here. Right. So there's the thing on the High Times magazine. You do consultations. It mentions.
Yeah, I do consults with people. I don't charge for them. I need to update that.
Okay.
Um, you know, I do a quick consult with people over their ECS because so many people are concentrated on the cannabinoids in the marketplace,
Yeah.
and our endocannabinoid system doesn't have that many endocannabinoids to learn about. These are things somebody can take a list of and go off on their own and do their own research, just like
Yeah.
they did on what CBD was turned into. And that's the best example. You know, if you're going to research every last conversion of CBD from THCP to whatever else they're going to make, you know, definitely
Yeah.
find out more about 2AG. And, you know, if you need to learn more about that, you can on the Researcher OG website. And then
Super.
Genevieve's Dream blog is just going to really kick out a lot. I'm planning on, you know, at least 7 to 10 weekly blogs, if not more. So it's
Mm.
going to be a flood of, I get over 100 to review a day. Today alone, I did review as a research review too on academia.com. So I do research reviews alone for actual journals of medicine.
Mm.
Those I can't take and share because they're not published yet. I'm doing a peer review on that.
Right.
You know, so I'm giving input that could cause them to have to change it. So, you know, I think that the more the public soaks in, the better. And I'm just glad to have been able to be here with you and to share what I have. Thank you so
Well,
much.
well, thank you. Thank you for coming on the program and sharing your story and Genevieve's story. And we look forward to hearing more about this product that you're just about to launch. So,
I look forward to sharing. It's coming
all
up so
righty.
soon.
Tamara, anything before I sign us off here? You're muted.
Oh, there we go. Sorry. I was coughing. Just thanks for coming on. And I'll be live on Monday with Cannabis and Coffee with Marijuana with my guest, Melissa Athman.
All righty. All right. Thanks to our sponsors, legacy420.com, At-Eze.ca, Limestone, City Hydroponics.ca, the Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. Tamara and I will be back next week with our guest. I believe Scott is coming on next week. He had to cancel recently, and we're working on getting him back. Other than that, big thank yous to you, Mike, for coming on to the broadcast and talking about everything. And you got a spot there where people can find educational information with your Global Cannabis Cannabinoid Research Center, for sure.
All right. Well, thank you so much. You guys have
You're
a great
welcome.
night.
Yeah. Other than that, thanks for everybody for tuning in the broadcast. As I said, we'll be back next week. Other than that, Mike, hang on for 30 seconds. We'll talk to you at the other end of the closing, and we'll see everybody else next week. Bye-bye. Let's share PACE everywhere. That way it can help create peace. People everywhere advocating cannabis education.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.